everyone and welcome back to Qlik Tips. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to let users change the dimension or the measure in a chart using a button, a drop-down list, an input box, or a slider without using alternative dimensions. This approach is cleaner, gives you more control, and works perfectly with measures. As you can see on the screen, whenever I choose an option, sales, quantity, or number of orders, the measure changes automatically in the line chart below. So if you want to learn how to build this solution step by step, make sure to watch until the end. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so to build this, we'll start by creating a variable. I'll call it vShow measures, and I'll set its definition to 1. Now I'm gonna add a variable input from the custom object. I resize it a bit, and in this variable input, I'll link it to the variable vShow measures. For the input type, you can use button and input box drop down. In this example, I'm gonna use buttons. I'll display them in a row, not in a column. For the values, I'll keep it on fixed and click add alternatives. Here I'm going to add 3 values: 1 for quantity, 2 for sales, and 3 for number of orders. I'll just double check the spelling of my measures because I already created the master items. Now you can see the 3 options on the buttons, but at this point they don't affect the bar chart yet. So let's go and make the chart dynamic. I'll open the bar chart and start by modifying the measure. First, I'll unlink it from the master item. Instead of simple sum sales, I'm going to write an if statement based on our variable output. So if the variable measure equal to 1, I'll display quantity, 2 sales, 3 number of order. I'm using master measures that are already created, and I really recommend you do the same. It makes your app more consistent and easier to maintain. So my expression looks like I'll click apply. Now the bar chart reacts to the buttons. When I select number of orders, the measure changes correctly in the chart, but there's a small issue. The label is still showing sales even when I'm displaying number of orders. So we also need to make label dynamic. To do that, I'll go to label of the measure, and instead of writing a fixed text, I'll use similar if expression that returns the label. 1, I'll display quantity, 2 sales, and as the number of orders. Now both the measure and the label are dynamic. You can see that when I click on sales, the chart shows the sales measure and the label changes to sales. When I click on quantity, it shows quantity and the label updates as well, and so on. If you want to do the same thing for dimensions, the logic is exactly the same. Create a variable, use a variable input chart, and build an if statement to switch between different dimensions. For the type of control, you use button, drop down, slider, input box. It really depends on your business case and what is easiest for your users. Personally, for this scenario, I recommend using button or a drop down list. Buttons are very visual and great when you have just a few options. Drop down are good if you have some options and want to save space. Slider when you're working with numeric values, for example, applying a percentage like 20%, 60% of a quantity, or when you want to let users type a value directly. For our case, they are not the best choice, especially for business users, so I don't really recommend using a slider or input box here. And that's it for today. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.